Welcome to today's class. Today we are going to emphasize on the types of written communication because we had originally discussed the written communication and its advantages. So one of the types, it is the letters, and the letter, it is an official document used in the process of business or any form of communication. Now these letters are usually two, but we are not going to look at the friendly letter as we are going to look at the official letter. Now this official letter has two formats. We have the fully blocked and the semi-blocked. So under fully blocked, all the items on the letter appear from the margin. But for the fully blocked, for the semi-blocked, all the items, the sender's address and the date are on the right-hand side of the page. The recipient's address, salutation, and ref, they are on the left-hand side. The body takes the paragraph form, and the complementary clause is on the right-hand side. But if you look at the fully blocked, the sender's address, the date, the recipient's address, the salutation, the ref, the body, everything begins on the margin. Now I will discuss briefly these items that appear on the letter and its significance. If we start with the sender's address, it is telling us the author of the message or the author of the letter, and it gives the recipient a very good impression that the identity of the letter has been given forth. The date confirms when the letter was written and therefore assisting us to understand the authenticity of this letter. Salutation, it is the diplomatic way of greeting your recipient and giving them a clear indication of what is duly expected. The reference, it is the subject of the letter which we are told it should be very brief and precise. The body is the explanation of the letter, and it is detailing what you want to communicate to the recipient across the point so that you can share what is. And then lastly, the complementary clause, it is the diplomatic way also of ending your letter as the person formulating the letter. The second one is the memo, which is also an internal means of communication that we use within the organization. And this is the format whereby we have the author, the recipient of the memo and the author of the memo, both of them having the designations, the subject of the memo being the main idea you want to pass to your audience, the body being the explanation, and then you finish by signing, putting your name and designation. And it is used also for various means of communication. The last one is the notice, and it is also an internal document used for communication, and it has the format is too brief. It has very little in terms of information. What we are always told is we should make sure that the word notice is eye-catching, meaning it should be large enough for the person to read from far. There should be the body explaining it, and then the author of the same. So vis-a-vis these three, there are many other. We have the proposals, we have the telegrams, the faxes, the reports, which we shall see under report writing. We have a press release, we have an advert, and others. So all of them share that means of engagement. Now, for effective written communication to take place, there are 5 items that are supposed to be obeyed under what we call the 5 C's of written communication. Now, these 5 C's, they are going to assist us to understand what it entails. So, the 5 C's of written communication, one of them is connection. And when we talk of connection, then it means a very good written document or communication, it is going to form a very good bond between the writer of the message and the recipient, who is the reader of the message. If there is more of like a block, or maybe there is little in terms of understanding of what is there, then you find we lose on on the issue of connection. Then the second item is clarity. Therefore, when you are formulating a written document, you have to make sure that its contents and the context in which you are putting your message is very clear, so that the recipient or the reader will not have a lot in terms of comprehending maybe whatever you have shared or maybe put across. Number 3 is about the cause. And when we say the cause, then what has ignited you to write or maybe to come up with that written document, so that if there are specific actions that you feel they are supposed to be instituted, then how are they going to be instituted courtesy of that written document. Number 4, it is about conciseness, which we also saw under the principles of communication. This means that let the communication stick to the original agenda or to the original meaning, because if you are going to distort the information in the process of trying to write whatever you are writing, then it is going to have different issues. For example, the recent issues that came up in the report for the constitutional changes, whereby instead of writing 89, they wrote 87, and you see it will automatically change the meaning of the message. And lastly, it is on correctness. So when we say correctness, then it means what you are putting in place should have the right tone, language, and grammar. Because if those 3 items are not meeting the required demands, then automatically you will find that the individuals that you are targeting or maybe you are putting into perspective, they might lose on the understanding that you have as a person, and it might be very, very bad. Because at long last, what are you going to do as a person to initiate or to institute such measures? So the tone must be correct, it should not be offensive language, and also the grammar you are using should be very much appropriate to those individuals that are coming across. Lastly, how do we make written communication effective? Because the essence of effectiveness in terms of communication then comes in terms of how is it going to be instituted. So under this, if you are an author of a written document, number 1, know your goal and state it very clearly. Because at the end of the day, whatever you want to initiate, courtesy of that written document, is it something that is very much indicted, or maybe it is something that you are very sure of as a person? Because when you know the goal of what you want to communicate through a written document, then passing information will be very prudent or will be very easy to be able to share it to those individuals that you are coming across. And also, this goal must come out very clearly, very positively, very very much indicted, because the action you want to take, that action must be very much positive, and also it should be informed, so that it's not something that is malicious. Then use the correct tone in terms of engagement, because sometimes some people can write a very good document with a very good message, but when you read the context of that message in terms of formulation, it portrays some harsh tones or some level of aggression, or it is in one way or another trying to conform to different initiatives that cannot be able to be understood. So let us uphold some formality, so that whenever you are going to use this, it is going to be quite positive. Then number 3, it is about simplicity in terms of language, because written documents can only be comprehended and be understood by the recipients of those documents if the author in advance understood that the people you are targeting have a clear undertaking, or maybe they have a clear knowledge of what is duly expected of them. And therefore, if they are going to receive the message, then that message is going to resonate very well as long as the language that has been used is a language they can fully understand, read, comprehend, and contextualize whatever was the intention of the speaker. Because use of cliches, jargons, technical words, and other issues, they give a wrong impression. Either you have a very good message, but maybe you don't want the individuals to get what is there. Then number 4, stay on the topic. Because as you write, you are like giving something in a prose manner. And if you are giving something in a prose manner, don't start something, then by the time you are finishing, you've totally delivered a different message. So it is prudent for the writer to make sure that whenever you started off on a certain topic, on a certain initiative, then the entire written document should always accrue reference from that topic, because anything that will sound different, it will leave the person doing or receiving that at loss, and they will not be able to know what they are supposed to initiate or maybe put into a perspective across the point. Then the 5th item is using active voice. And an active voice connotes that whatever you are using or choosing in terms of words, they should be words that are moving your conversation. Because if they are going to like derail the message or maybe give a negative impression, then automatically it will not be able to give the best maybe position. So as you paraphrase your sentences, you paraphrase your documentation and other words that you are using, we need to make sure that in line of the ideal expectations, the person you are going to be targeting is able to see that the message is able to move forward and it is able to go on very swiftly. And lastly, maybe have someone to do what you call proof reading. Under proofreading, then it means we might not be very accurate when we are doing our written documents. That doesn't mean that you've not been able to champion your idea, but it is just being safe by also giving another party to try and look at what you've written and see if there is any error of commission or omission, and if it is found, then it is rectified before you subject that document to the full force of engagement to your audience. Because we might have grammatical errors, we might have typographical errors, we might have maybe issues of wrong words and other key issues. But the key element is, are you able to have someone to try and look at what you've written in advance, then be able to use it across the point. So for today, I think we shall be able to look at that, and I will encourage you to always obey those formats, especially on the letters, the memo, and the notice, because they always have a point of reckoning. So we shall end there for today, and God willing, next time we shall look at something else. Thank you.